Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hail Yes podcast. I am your host, Haley Gamba. How is everyone doing today? I get so many questions from single girlies on how to solo date properly. I have been doing this since I became single. And the reason why is because why are we waiting for anybody to do anything? And I'm not going to lie to you guys, a little backstory. I genuinely have always struggled with social anxiety. Although I am much of a talker and I do tend to be pretty good at kind of moving a room if I'm with people that I know, when I'm walking into any type of establishment where I'm unfamiliar or I'm by myself or I'm somewhere that's far from home, I tend to get a little bit nervous and anxious and maybe even a little bit shy. So I wanted to do an entire video and episode today all about solo dating and the art of it and the do's and don'ts that I personally think will really help you if you want to get into it. There is so many different types of solo dates. So I kind of want to get it to where it's more of a topic around dating at night, more of a solo dinner date. And this is more so to get a little bit more confident and to attract possible suitors, if you know what I'm talking about. I think that this is a great way to date. Not only are you dating yourself and you're romanticizing your own life, you're welcoming in the energy of possibly generous people. And we're going to get into why this is a great way to attract it. So I actually went out on a solo date and I do this quite often. I try to do it once a week, if not once every 2 weeks. And my way of doing it is I will make sure to go to certain places that I frequented in the past that I know have wealthy, intelligent, established, and just amazing people that are filling up the room. This is my way of surrounding myself with people who I think are smarter than me and can teach me something. If you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. And I really, truly believe in that. So my way of solo dating has been going to more affluent communities and frequenting the restaurants there. Now, I can imagine that for some people, if you've never done this before, you've never taken yourself out on a dinner date, you can maybe think it's a little bit on the boring side. You could probably feel like it's just not super exciting and you have a really difficult time romanticizing this moment. So I'm going to walk you through the do's and the don'ts and what I think will really help you kind of introduce it into your life. First, starting out, if you are a super anxious person, I want you to start just taking yourself out in the daytime before you start doing the dinner dates. This is going to help you get a little bit more acclimated to doing things on your own. I am a professional dilly-dallyer. I love to putz around. I go to Home Goods, I'll go to the mall, I'll go designer bag and shoe shopping, go get some perfumes. I just pretty much doing nothing but enjoying my life. So this is something that I'm very good at. So if you're not someone who goes out and dilly-dallies, start with that first. Go to your local mall, go somewhere where you can shop, go somewhere where you can even set up your laptop and maybe work for the day. It could just be a coffee shop or somewhere like a Barnes and Nobles. I want you to just get acclimated to being around people by yourself. This is the first step to introducing solo dating into your life. Now that you've kind of welcomed that into your life, we can actually start moving towards the dinner solo dates. Again, the reason why I love these is because you are kind of boosting your own confidence. You're dressing up for you. You're romanticizing your life. And it's a great way to date. Dare I say that going out in the wild and meeting people in a more organic way is the best way to meet someone that you actually enjoy. This is something that I think is a little bit better than online dating because it's a face-to-face interaction. First thing that I want you to do is I want you to pick a restaurant that you know is going to have a good variety of people in it. This is some place that you can go with friends, maybe go out to dinner with one of your girlfriends or your parents or your cousin, I don't care who, but go there before you do your solo date. You want to familiarize yourself with the place, where the bathrooms are located, where the bar is, the kind of people that go in there. And this is going to get you a little bit more comfortable walking into the place. I would definitely not recommend going to a restaurant that you've never been to in your entire life as your first solo date. It's a little bit intimidating and you just don't know the atmosphere and the vibe. So I like to pick a list of restaurants that I know I like to go to with my girlfriends that are pretty high price tags. So if you're going to go to a restaurant that's Italian or just even like a seafood place that has $100, $200, $300 meals, this is going to be a great place to go to if you want to meet affluent people. Now, that is my personal mission for going out on a solo date. It's one, to have a really good, just to myself experience, but two, to meet really wonderful people. I can even go out and have no intention of like really meeting anyone, and I always end up anyways. So that's kind of why I'm putting this out there. It doesn't always have to be a romantic partner. I have met wonderful women and men that are just platonic friendships or connections doing these types of things for myself. So again, back to the first point, go to a place that you're familiar with or that you know of, that you've heard of through friends and family. Maybe somebody told you in your town, oh my God, there's this new really hot spot restaurant. It has like amazing steak. It has good wine. It has a good atmosphere. That's where you want to go. Now, the next do for your solo date outing is to dress classy. Now, this is my own personal preference because I do not like going out as a woman by myself in very risque clothing. I am very pro women wearing whatever they want. I really do believe in that. But I prefer being a little bit more sexy, risque, and daring with my outfits when I know I'm going to be with people that I know and I'm not going to be by myself. I just don't want to draw that kind of attention when I'm alone. It's not necessarily the mission that I've set out for. The mission I've set out for is to romanticize my evening and possibly meet a really wonderful person. And I prefer meeting someone who has like a quiet confidence and usually is known for having something that is very enticing to me, whether it's intelligence or they have a business that they can talk about. I like to meet people who are different than me and can kind of balance me out. I'm a loud, very rambunctious, fun, kind of more out there kind of person. And I like someone who's kind of the antithesis of that. So the way to attract that is with a little bit more of a modest, classy vibe. Now, that's not to say to not look sexy, not to look beautiful, but just don't be so out there. And this is like something that I think is not only for your protection and safety, but just also for you to create a very balanced and curated, confident image around your solo dating outings. You want it to feel like you can move the room with a very classy and polished aura. The next thing that I really want you guys to do is I want you to sit down at the bar or at a table and walk in like you're going to stay a while. You don't want to be someone who's in a rush for your solo outings because you're afraid of people looking at you, people talking about you, or any of that. You want to walk in with a confidence that maybe you just finished like a business meeting and you're in the area and nobody wanted to come out to dinner with you, so you took yourself out. You want to kind of create a little story and scenario in your head as to why you're there that night. And this is not only for yourself and for your own internal confidence and to allow you to really feel comfortable in the room, but it also kind of just gives off an energy that you're not afraid to be by yourself. You're not someone who is intimidated by other people looking at you or wondering what you're doing. You're more so in your own world and you're embodying like a feminine, beautiful aura that people are very attracted to. I had went out the other night, not even 5 seconds into my solo outing, somebody already had walked up to me. Actually, this is exactly how it went. I went to a restaurant and the second I got there, which by the way, this place is not close to my home at all. Okay. I had to drive far to get there and I had no intention of really like planning out the evening, but I've been to this place several times before. So I felt comfortable going. So I pull up and I go to the valet and he's like, oh, which restaurant are you going to? And I'm like, I'm going to that one over there. And they go, oh, are you sitting at the bar or do you have a reservation? And I said to them, no, I'm just sitting at the bar tonight. And they go, okay, don't get upset, but the bar is actually closed until 9:30 because the Giants rented out the entire space. And by the Giants, I mean the football team. So I was like, holy crap, wait, this is kind of tea. You mean to tell me that either corporate for the Giants or the actual team is sitting at the bar at the restaurant that I was planning on going to and they rented it out until 9:30. Now it's at this point 8:45. It wasn't really that early, so I was totally okay with that. They actually told me to go to the restaurant next door to get a drink and to relax there for a little bit before the bar reopens at the other restaurant. I had no issue with that. Now, of course, it wasn't ideal, but it kind of welcomed me to a place that I've never been to before. The restaurant directly next to it was open. It was a vibe. It was very like, it still had the same kind of ambiance as the place I was going to. And it was an expensive restaurant. So it wasn't like it was a completely different vibe and atmosphere. So they actually have an outdoor bar area. And I went over to it and I sat down. And, what I also like about solo outings in this particular area is that there's valet. This is a really important way to feel safe in your solo dating, is to park anywhere where you can either be close proximity to the restaurant and you don't have to walk several blocks alone, or they have valet parking so they can go get your car for you. Literally from the parking lot to the restaurant is a very short walk. So I feel safe. I feel like I'm not going to be in danger in any way. And it's just a great way to feel comfortable in your outings. So that was just something that I wanted to put out there. I sit down at this other place. I just, relax. I kind of think about what I wanted to drink. I ended up getting a Hugo Spritz, and literally I ordered my drink. I handed the bartender my card. She was like, "Do you want it open or closed?" I figured I would just close out my tab because by the time I'm finished with this one drink, the other restaurant's going to open and I can go eat dinner. As I hand her my card, she makes my drink, whatever. She comes back, she gives me back my card and my drink, and she goes, "The gentleman across the way actually paid for your drink, so you're good for now." I'm like, oh my God, already? I literally just sat down. Now, I sit down, I, lift up my drink, I, show the man, "Thank you, like I appreciate this." And he ends up coming over and talking. Now, how I choose to be when I'm interacting with a guy like this is I just am myself. And I try not to overshare. I let them talk. I let them just do them. But I always want to remain very alert and assertive and to show some sort of boundary, because I never want to be like loose or like a pick me, because to me that could be showing the wrong vibe and intention. And I never want to do that. I genuinely just want to articulate myself well and listen. And it's all about listening in these moments. So, and if I ever feel maybe this person is not somebody that I want to keep talking to, I will either say, "Oh, I have somebody, awaiting me at the next place. I'm meeting up with like my dad or my brother or my cousin, whatever," because this is your way to kind of like create distance between you and that person. But this particular guy was fine. He was very nice. He was just telling me about how he lives in Florida half the time and Jersey the other half the time. And it was a very respectful conversation, honestly. So once it turned 9:30, I was like, "Oh, I'm actually, due for dinner at the next place. It was a pleasure meeting you." He ended up getting my number and I moved on. I love the idea of just giving my number and saying, "Thank you so much. I'm, doing my evening myself, like just me and myself this evening." It's not a, free for all. I don't like when people overstay their welcome in my evening. And there is a very healthy and kind way to articulate that. You just simply say, "It was such a pleasure meeting you. Here's my number if you ever want to go out sometime, but I'm going to go eat dinner at the next place and just enjoy some quiet time." And that is like how I like to address it. I'm sure I've said it a little bit better than that, but I'm more of an on the spot person and not a let me think about what I'm going to say. So I can't really say it to you guys right now, but it's something along those lines. Creating a boundary, still being kind, and then moving on. So I go to the next place. I enjoyed myself some dinner. I sat next to a few guys on my right-hand side. I stuck to just really locking in with the bartender, being kind and free-flowing. And then I ended up chatting away with the gentleman next to me. He was very sweet, very kind, and ended up paying for my entire tab. Can you believe it? It was like $400 too, because I got caviar, I got salmon, I got all these different drinks. And at the end of the night, he just took my bill. He asked the server for my bill. So back to the do's. You don't want to be like a nasty, puss face. Granted, I don't think you should be too kind either, but just be open, be free flowing, be authentic, and just still have a boundary up because you're by yourself. You're a woman. You don't owe anybody anything. But I just really like to be kind and short and quick and to the point. So that being said, you want to go into environments and really get to know the wait staff. Talk with the bartenders, talk with the servers, get to know the managers. This is another way to instill some sort of safety in your outings. It's going to get them familiar with your face, who you are, your name, all of that. And let's just say you do have to walk a few blocks to your car, or it's just a dark alleyway, or it's just not super close. You can have one of the wait staff walk you to your car. Now, another thing that I really want to stress the importance of is limiting your drinking. When you are going on solo outings, this is not a time to get drunk. It's just not, okay? You're by yourself, and we all know that your inhibitions are, skewed, and you become a little bit more loose and, sexy when we're drinking. And it's not safe, especially if you're driving, obviously, right? We're not drinking and driving. So I limit myself to 2 drinks, okay? I don't let a man try to sell me another drink. Oh, just have one more, you'll be fine. No, 2 drinks. That's it. And lots of water. And then on top of it, I love to just taste the menu. If I'm going out and I'm romanticizing an experience for myself, I want to enjoy my night. I want to eat little things on the menu. I want to try things. And that's kind of my way to spoil myself, because I view solo outings as a way to treat myself, to spoil myself, and to enjoy the moment. So that's exactly what I do. And I really want that to be a priority for you on your own outings. Really treat yourself. And it's super attractive to the outside world when a woman is just enjoying her night. She's just very much moving in her essence. She's enjoying her food. She's having a glass of wine. She's smiling. She's kind. It's very attractive, and it attracts the right kind of people. And another thing that's really amazing about solo dating is I have found that when you go out alone, you get approached more than if you're in big groups. When I went out the other night, I was obviously by myself, like I said, and I was sitting at the corner end of the bar, and there was other women and people, in the bar, because it's a very large bar. And I noticed that a lot of the women had dressed up, done their hair. They looked, very nice, but a lot of them were in large groups, and that can be intimidating for a quiet, confident, rich guy, wealthy guy. He's not going to walk up to a group of women and interrupt their night. But men love to interrupt solo women, which is a good thing if you want to be interrupted, right? If you want to be someone who's interrupted and you want someone who's going to approach you and meet you and be kind and communicate, being by yourself is always going to be the best thing. I never, ever, ever am alone in my own thoughts for longer than 15 minutes when I take myself out. So prepare yourself for lots of conversation and compliments. It's just how it goes if you are beautiful and if you are confident and you radiate that when you go out. Okay, now that we talked about the do's of solo dating, I want to discuss some of the don'ts, some of the things that I think are not good to have, to do, to be when you are in environments by yourself. So the first thing that I want to say is do not rely on your phone during this time. And I know that can be so hard because we're always on our phones. But this is your moment to stay present. I want this to be something that you look at as a challenge to your life. This is something that's out of your comfort zone. It's something that you're pushing yourself to do. So stay in the moment, be present, enjoy your wine, smile, enjoy the atmosphere. Eavesdrop. Hey, eavesdrop onto some people's conversations. Try to have a conversation with the bartender or the person sitting next to you. This is not your time to be scrolling all night or being buried in your phone. You do that enough at home. Don't do that when you're out. Do not get too drunk. Do not overdrink, especially around people that you do not know. The next don't that I want you guys to really stress and to really take in is to not overshare on these nights out. When you are out by yourself, this could be a vulnerable experience for you. And it's a way for people to get into your head even. So if you're having conversation with somebody and they are someone with a lot of swag and they have a good amount of flirting and they're complimentary and they know how to I don't know, swindle you a little bit, dare I say, they can get a lot of information out of you. I'm not saying to lie, but in the beginning stages of my solo outings, I used to. I used to lie about my name, what I did for work, even the reason why I was out, where I lived. Because a lot of people will say, where are you from? Where do you live? What do you do? It's a common question. So if you don't feel comfortable answering the question, lie and make sure that you familiarize yourself with the lie that you're going to tell. You do not owe anybody the truth. You don't owe anybody your private personal information. And it's definitely not the time to do it. Okay. Being out in public by yourself, not the time to overshare. Please and thank you. So do not do it. I definitely think it's really sexy too to just stay mysterious and to keep relaying to people who asked you why you came out by yourself that this was just an empowered choice and that you do it all the time. Don't look like you're a deer in headlights and that you're scared and you're anxious because people take advantage of that. Really be, strong and empowered during this moment. The guy that I was with, the other night who ended up paying for my dinner said to me, he goes, I could never do this. I could never sit at a restaurant by myself. And I looked at him like, why not? It's amazing. It's so much fun. You don't have to talk all night. You could just relax, enjoy your dinner. And I think he was really blown away by just my confidence and comfortability doing something that most people just don't do. So be that person who has the audacity and the confidence to be a part of rooms that maybe other people would not have done the way that you've done it. And this is a huge one for me. When we are trying to attract affluent men, we want to manifest and welcome in the energy with an essence that is feminine. Do not have any ounce of desperation that shows when you are out. You do not want to be the woman who thinks that people owe you something and expecting somebody to pay your bill, because then you're chasing. You're in a chasing spirit and chasing energy. When I went into the evening the other night, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say that I thought I was going to pay for everything and anticipated that nobody was going to buy me a drink. No, I am well aware that when I go out, usually people do something for me, even if it's just the bartender knocking off the price of a drink for me because he sees that I'm out by myself and he's just trying to be friendly. That being said, I don't walk into the evening with an arrogance and even just an exuding desperate energy that shows I need help, I want somebody to pay my bill, and that I'm in a chasing spirit and energy, because that does not attract what you're looking for. When you are confident, when you are self-assured, when you are self-validating, you usually do attract the right things because you're attracting what you are. You're aligning with who you are. So the gentleman that was sitting next to me was very quiet. He was very to himself. He was confident, and I was as well. I mean, I'm not quiet, but I'm all of the other things. And I think that he really respected that I did not expect anything from him, and he wanted to do things for me. One thing about men, they want to do things for you. They want to do things for a woman. They want to alleviate burdens off of women. They don't want to do it to a woman who expects it or who just walks around oh, well, you better do this for me, because that is very desperate. I actually went to the bathroom at one point and I told the bartender, which by the way, this is another do when you're on a solo outing. If you have a drink and it's still full, you can give it to the bartender and ask them to hold it behind the bar for you, or you need to finish your drink before you go to the bathroom. Never leave your drink just chilling on the table, okay? That being said, I went to the bathroom, used it, washed my hands, and there was a few women in there that I noticed were kind of tucked to the left-hand side. And they were like, is that your boyfriend? And I was like, no. She's like, oh, is he single? And I'm like, I don't know, probably. And they were asking me a lot of questions about the guy because he did kind of carry himself very well. He was wearing Louis Vuitton, a Rolex. He looked very handsome. He had a very good look to him, okay? So I can imagine that for single women who are in a chasing energy, they like that. So the girl goes, would you mind if I would introduce my girls to him? We want to go over to him and say hello. Do you care? And I'm like, not at all. I was just very calm, collected, and normal because first and foremost, he's not my man. Second of all, I never want to show that I'm in competition or that I'm jealous, because I really do believe that, again, being self-assured and being confident, it's more so of an attitude, and it doesn't need to be, a way where you're digging your nails into somebody. You can just relax, be yourself, and usually that's what attracts people the most. So I come back to the table and I notice that the girls were kind of like talking to him. And long story short, he sent them packing. He did. He sent them packing. He did not want to speak with them. He kind of was like, oh, it was a pleasure meeting you ladies. I'm going to eat my dinner now. And kind of sent them on their way. And he had said to me like, I don't really like that. And granted, I don't really care what he likes or doesn't like. That's not what this is about. It's just what I'm trying to say is do not be in a chasing energy in these moments. Go out, nurture yourself, romanticize your evening, smile because you want to, dress nice because that's what you do. And that's that. And you will attract a really authentic and usually generous person. And the last thing that I want to mention that I think is something that I had to learn as I've gotten older, and this kind of pertains to how to carry yourself when you are talking with people like this. Be someone who has a very good understanding of your morals, your values, and be someone who has your own opinions, your own thoughts, your own ideas. Don't be a yes woman. A lot of the times when I meet people out, when I am myself and I will have a conversation with somebody and maybe something that they said I disagree with, I know how to disagree in a respectful way. I know how to feel how I feel and how to relay my own ideas and opinions in a way that's not combative, but that shows self-assurance, that shows that I have core values and that I have integrity. So these are ways that I showcase myself in a way that makes me feel authentic to myself because I don't ever want to bend my own way of thinking to receive something. And I have found that people respect it more when you are just yourself and you're not pandering to whatever they think and whatever they want. You are your own person. You don't do that. You don't say that. You don't feel that. And that's okay. I think I covered all that you need to know about solo dating. I'm sure that there are other things that I'll think of later on, but those were like the core things that I wanted to mention. Go enjoy yourself, even if you don't meet any man, which, listen, there's nothing wrong with saying that you're taking yourself out to meet people organically. A lot of women choose to stay inside majority of their lives and they disassociate from society and they only meet people via Hinge or Bumble or Tinder. There is nothing wrong with saying, I want to take myself out to meet people. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I welcome that type of energy. But if, let's just say, on your first outing or your second outing, you don't meet any guy, who cares? You had a great night, you romanticized your evening, you had an amazing dinner, and you did something out of your comfort zone. You took yourself out and enjoyed your own company. Hello? That's amazing. Give yourself a pat on the back for that. You don't always need to receive something in order to enjoy your life. Okay, so now we are going to do this segment that I love, which is Hail Mail, where you guys interact with me. You guys ask me questions on either the Hail Yes podcast DMs or even my own personal DMs, and I'm going to answer them here anonymously on the podcast. So the question is, I just went through a breakup and I'm trying to figure out who I am without this person. I feel like I need a style refresh and a whole new vibe. What's something that you do after a breakup to feel like yourself again? Oh my God. So much to unpack here, but I'm going to try to keep it short. It's difficult to know who you are after a relationship because a lot of the times, a lot of your identity was put in that person. So I would actually recommend to just try everything, do everything. Maybe do something that you've always wanted to do. Maybe you wanted to cut your hair or you wanted to wear a different type of like outfit inspo. Maybe you want to start doing blazers or jeans and maybe you weren't doing that before. You were doing a lot of sweats. I would recommend just doing a style refresh, seeing what fits and suits you, and definitely go off of like your color theory. So you guys can do like the color analysis test where you can see what colors really just complement your hair and your skin tone. That's a great place to start. But try different things, switch it up and see what you like. You have to try it to know. So that's something that I would recommend. Okay, guys, that is a wrap on today's episode. I am wishing you guys so much luck on your solo outings. It is not as intimidating and scary as you think it is. It's actually like a really empowering thing to do, and it's fun. I enjoy it. I know a lot of people say, oh my God, it's so boring, go out by yourself. I like being bored. Maybe that's the problem. So I enjoy it. I enjoy the peace and quiet. I enjoy the food. I enjoy the ambiance. I enjoy dressing up just for me. And if I get to meet somebody who's really cool in all of that, so be it. I love it. This is just a great way to introduce some more grown and scary activities into your life that you realize are not as scary as you think. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. I know you guys will. And I'm wishing you the absolute best. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of the Hell Yes podcast. Make sure to share it with a friend. Whoever you think maybe will benefit from this particular episode, send it to them, okay? And yeah, guys, I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Pioneer.